What is up, homies? Welcome to Crunch Time. It is a little Saturday edition of Crunch Time, which we don't really do all that often, but we're happy to be here and we're talking a fantastic sport. It is NBA DFS, and it's a little preseason where apparently there is an edge. I wouldn't know, but I know a man who would know, and that man is Mr. Andy Means. What up, man?
Yeah, Tuttle, Mr. Tuttle 05, our guy, Dan Gaspar, sent something in Slack this morning, said, hey, guys, just wanted to thank this NBA chat for helping me win all the monies last night. He won like 62 cents, like 200 and
I saw that.
Put in $210, came back $210.62. Like, that is the edge we're looking for over here at RotoGrinders, guys.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens, when you actually put in that much money and you win like 13 cents. It's incredible to see that. But he took that like a champ, and we're gonna win big time. Means we got big time money on the way.
Yeah. So last night went okay. Like it's preseason. Like there's no way you're gonna bat 1,000 on that stuff. Like Simons, we talked about him. He got hurt. Apparently didn't come out and play the second half. Like Trae Young didn't shoot well. Killian Hayes had like 27 turnovers. But then there's some other good ones like Booch. Taylor Horton Tucker just blew up last night. Single-handedly carried me over the line. He had like 41 DK points. So it's gonna go like that. I thought we talked about most of the situations pretty well. A lot of this is just trying to get minutes right, and that's usually the case in the season, the regular season. So you try to get minutes right, and then how they do is going to just go like this, and you try to get more of that as opposed to down here. So we're trying to get minutes right basically because. We know what these guys can do per minute, relatively speaking, for the most part. So that's what we're trying to do, and it's even trickier in the preseason than it is in the regular season.
Yeah. All right. A couple quick things to note. One, this show is free. The show is right now. It's on YouTube. We've got it on Periscope, on Twitter. It's free. Normally, these shows are not free, and I think we only have one more free show left, which is opening day.
Yep, opening night, two game slate. So like, what is it? Brooklyn and Golden State, and then the two LA teams. Hello.
Right. So what that means is that if you like this content, or at least the content you are about to receive, sign up. We've got a Core 4 package going on. Not only do you get NBA with Andy Means and Cards and Tuttle and everybody else, also the best projections in the biz, you also get NFL. It's all included there. And it's the best deal in the industry. So sign up for that. The other thing I will note Means I need to give you a Twitter shout out. Your Twitter is so useful. Drop your Twitter real quick for the people.
Meansy, AMEANSY. Meansy.
It's so good. You post all the beat writers saying what the coach is saying about who gets the info, who's going to play. You don't really spam Twitter. There are some people I want to follow, but then I look and they've got like 70,000 tweets, and I'm like,
Well, what I try to do is anything that I'm gonna retweet or tweet or reply or anything that is from a beat writer, it's going to be DFS specific. It's going to talk about minutes. It's going to change the stance I had on someone earlier, like in an article. It's going to talk about rotations. It's going to be relative to fantasy sports. So that's what I try to keep it to.
Yeah, well, I think you do a good job of that, and you're an all around pretty decent human being. So.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
That's nice of you to say.
That's a great compliment there. So give Means you follow now that NBA is going on. You don't have to follow me because you're just going to get basketball hot takes and they're going to piss you off. So don't.
They've been accurate so far. They've been accurate.
That's true. They're hot takes.
Can I butt in on one thing that you said about our core 4?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, you mentioned our projections, which you see here on my share screen here in Lineup HQ. Blender was tracking these last season, I think before the hiatus, and he was entering them into cash games. And our optimal lineup from our projections in Lineup HQ, we're cashing 66% of the time. So that's a pretty damn good hit rate. So
all you have to do is click the button that says optimize.
Yeah, exactly. So and for all those who think I'm anti-opto, I know there's a lot of you out there who think I'm anti-opto. I'm playing it tonight so far. I like it so much, I'm playing it. So nice. Yeah, so we'll talk about that as we get through everything. But yeah, it's I think Blender says he's going to do more of that this season too. He's going to use a bankroll, track it every slate. So get in early, because the more he's tracking it, the higher the percent's going to be high, and people are going to be jumping on. You want to get in there early. So just another thing that comes with the core 4.
Yeah. All right. We've done enough patting ourselves on the back, although I do think it's deserved. There you go.
Barry Horowitz.
Yeah. Let's get into this slate here. We got You want to start Raptors and Hornets? Let me preface this real quick. Generally, we go position by position. With preseason going on, we're kind of changing that up. We're breaking it down game by game because some of these coaches want to play their guys, others don't. I just think that's the best way to handle it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, well, yeah, we'll take a much more like zooming in focus on roster construction during the regular season, but you just have to do it this way because there's so much. It's basically like trying to decipher what coaches are saying, what they did, in previous preseasons. So I think it's the best route. And I think, and yeah, the first one you brought up there, obviously the first one here in lineup HQ, Toronto, Charlotte. So this morning I was writing an article and I thought Charlotte's going to be the best spot to target. There was a quote from Borrego, their head coach, I think a day or two ago in an article saying, we want to focus on our 10 to 12 guys in this preseason, our top 10 to 12 in the rotations. Like, that's great. Like, we want you to play your main guys.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe an hour or so ago, another beat writer clarified what he said at their pregame presser, that he said, well, that's true, but basically none of those guys are going to play more than 20 minutes tonight. So he's going to focus on them for like
guys. Like, they're going to see
for
the
2.5
score,
quarters.
but not. Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, I get you.
So, and he specifically said like their two-way guys and their Exhibit 10 contract guys, which are just like basically training camp invites, are going to play basically the whole fourth quarter. So while I was liking like Hayward at a weak small forward position, and like I was liking LaMelo thinking he was starting, but they're starting Rozier and Devontae. So they're just okay now. That's just going to be like, if a lot of what I say tonight is like basically what we're trying to do is avoid what happened with the Clippers last night. And I'm looking at my phone because I want to look and see exactly what happened. So if you look at the Clippers box score last night, they spread everything out from minutes and shots so much. No one on the entire team who played scored more than 19 DK points. Yeah. So like you're trying to avoid where stuff is so spread out. They're like giving minutes to everybody in their training camp, on their training camp roster. You're trying to avoid that and try to get as much as you can. Like we saw some guys playing like the Knicks. Of course, I tweeted last night, Tibbs is going to Tibbs. He said he's going to play a bunch of dudes, and you saw like Randall's playing 29 minutes and kind of closing the game out. So like we want to get those guys in the mid to high 20s if we can. And so Charlotte, I thought was going to be one of those teams, and it's not. Toronto might be.
Okay.
So I just retweeted something with a beat writer there that said Nurse really wants to get a look at what his first and second unit's going to be. They have no Lowry. He did have some contingencies that guys who are going to play a lot this year are not going to play a lot tonight. So that's like Fred VanVleet, maybe Siakam. I don't think he's going to have to play a ton this year as much as like Lowry and VanVleet, just because they're kind of thin in the backcourt as is. They're front court and wings. They have Anunoby, they have Powell.
Well, those two guards last year, I think they were both in the top 5 in minutes played for the NBA.
You're probably right. At least average for sure. Yeah. So you're right there. So we're going to have, like I'm looking here at our guys here for Toronto. Like if I sort by point per dollar here, we have Malachi Flynn. They don't have much as far as guards. Like Terrence Davis is there as far as like initiators. I mean, besides VanVleet, who he said he doesn't want to play him a lot tonight. We have him in 18 minutes. So there's not a lot of guys who can handle the ball. Like Bembry could handle the ball. We saw him do that with Atlanta. I just think that's why we have Flynn with a good projection. He's decent per minute. The guys I do like are going to be like Anunoby, Powell. Just you want to look for younger guys who are still going to be in the rotation. Boucher, he said he wants to get a look at Lynn. If Lynn wasn't there, I'd like Boucher a lot more, but Nurse specifically said he wants to see what Lynn gives him. So you just want to look for guys who are just younger, but are for sure going to be in the rotation. So I'm kind of looking at Powell, Anunoby, Flynn tonight, specifically for that team. As far as Charlotte, not crazy. And like, look at this, how we got the minutes spread. Like that's what you don't want to see in preseason. Is someone going to do well tonight? Probably, but you could easily see a Clippers situation from last night where you just have a bunch of snowflakes.
Okay. On to the next one. Oh, it's a sip of the tasty adult beverage.
I don't have like a resting voice period with no cards here tonight. So
I know, but I don't know. It makes me more involved, so I kind of enjoy being the second guy. When there's the two of you,
that's why I did the classic wait and pause to see like what you wanted to say in between.
Often nothing. Yeah. Generally, if it's preseason and I don't know, it's just all right.
There we go.
On to the next
all right,
one.
so I like some plays from this next game. So I want to check our Slack and see if anything's come in from. All right. Okay, good. Okay, Sampson's available. I was looking at the Pacers because they are really thin in the front court. I was hoping Sampson wouldn't play, but that doesn't mean I don't like some of these guys anyway. So I was hoping Sampson would be out because they have literally no bigs besides Sabonis and Miles Turner. They have some other guys, but like Goga's out. I don't even remember they have a training camp guy who's a center, and I honestly don't remember how to pronounce his name, but I know he's out. They have so Sampson's play. He's like 6'9". He can play some center for him. Like McDermott and this Rayshawn Hammonds guy are like, they're basically 6'8", 6'9", but they're only other bigs. So that's why we have Sabonis with a 25-minute projection. Turner's at 23. These guys got to play. So at least a little bit. Like, sure, they might not play the fourth quarter. Maybe Sampson and they plays the whole fourth quarter at center, or maybe they give some spot minutes to someone else. But I would think these guys are going to play three quarters. They're main guys, especially Sabonis. So that's why we have him with a really good projection. I like Brogdon. Again, I'm thinking a lot of these teams, I'll note otherwise, but I think a lot of these teams will play their guys the whole first half, and they'll get them their first stint in the third quarter, which will usually get you in the 22 to 25-minute range, something like that. So I really do like Sabonis. Brogdon, I'm fine with. The Pacers in general, they have a new coach this year. Every single player is saying the system is completely different. Like Miles Turner was saying, it's different even from he said they've been running the same stuff even back from when Frank Vogel was coaching, and that's been several years. And then they brought in McMillan. Now it's completely different. They brought in a Raptors assistant coach, a lot more player movement, less pick and roll. So we'll see how it goes. But you're obviously still going to want to target their best players, and they're relatively affordable. Salary actually matters a little bit on DraftKings tonight.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, and for those who didn't watch last night, I'm focusing more on DraftKings just because salary does matter a little bit. FanDuel put everybody at 6K or the average cost of a roster spot on FanDuel is like 6,600, and they changed everyone's price tag and put everyone below that. So that makes no difference. I just don't understand it. Yeah. So that's why I'm talking about DraftKings more. So yeah, I'm fine with targeting these main guys. Actually, since Sampson's available, I don't hate him as one of the best cheap plays, just because if this coach wants to somehow ease the burden on their main bigs, like Sampson should be the beneficiary of that. I don't hate McDermott. He's decent per minute. So those are the guys I'd be looking at for the Pacers. I think their main guys will play a decent amount. So I think that covers them. Cleveland. So I retweeted an article about how everything they're saying out of there is like, we're treating this like a regular season game, but it's like very much mindset and not like minutes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the mentality of the players wanting it bad doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get 29 minutes. They could want it really bad, only play 14 minutes, they still suck.
Exactly. That being said, I think it's better that they're saying that.
Sure.
And this also checks the boxes of some stuff I mentioned yesterday. Haven't played in a while. They haven't played since March. They suck. So they need reps. They need to actually play together and get better together. Like Drummond didn't play much with them last year. They have Isaac Okoro, who's starting for them now. They're rookie. Sexton's not out, so Garland's starting at point guard with Okoro in the backcourt. So I kind of like some of these guys. Porter's out too, so that opens up some more minutes on the wing. I think Love has a good game. I think Drummond has a good game. It's where it gets tricky with these other guys because they're just so poor per minute. If I'm taking a shot at some of these cheaper guys, it'd probably be Garland. I'm going to sort here per dollar. Okoro, I just don't know what to expect from this guy because he's a rookie. I don't know how his game's going to translate into the league. So I'm hesitant to get too excited about him, but he's a rookie and he's starting, so you got to imagine he's at least going to be out there. So that matters, at least something in the NBA preseason. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for them. Want me to go into the next game, or do you have a nice segue?
Well, you didn't seem that jazzed about it. And the downside to going game by game is that as you're talking through these plays, and people are, okay, he likes that guy, plugs it in, and then we get to the last game, we get to, Suns Jazz.
Who does he like?
This is my favorite play. It's like, well, so on the scale of things, that entire game, not as high there, or at least Cleveland? I
like Sabonis. He's a tier of his own. Sabonis is probably a tier of his own.
Okay.
For me, and I like Love's a little cheaper than him. That's why I write my NBA core plays article, because I like preferencing or prioritizing who my favorite plays are, because if you just read a really long really long stuff like I wrote today, like it's tough to differentiate. But it's so weird with the preseason that it's tough you have to navigate this way because you got to know who's going to play.
I get you. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll move on. Thunder Spurs next, I do believe.
Yeah, so another spot with the Thunder where I was really excited about some really good plays here. Because this morning I thought they were going to have as little as 10 bodies. Now they have 12. One of them because one questionable guy is playing. Another one is because we misinterpreted a tweet where the beat writer said, well, the guy didn't travel with the team, but we just overlooked the fact that it said to Orlando. So he's talking about his prior injury to Orlando. He meant the bubble back like a couple months ago. So it was a weird way it was tweeted. So they did, and that guy is starting. It's Isaiah Roby. So basically what I'm saying is it's still a good spot because they only have 12 bodies. 12 bodies in the NBA preseason is actually relatively pretty good based on guys having 20. Like Rick Carlisle was talking about how they have 20 guys on their training camp roster, and that just scares you of playing anybody.
Yeah.
So, and the one who's obviously, now if we want to talk about prioritizing plays,
I do.
Everybody get your earphones in or your mouse ready or whatever, or your pen and paper ready, because SGA is the only good player they have left. So, and they have 12 bodies left. Their last year, their top 5 per minute guys are all gone, and SGA is the lone remaining guy of that group. He's young. I gotta imagine he's gonna play a decent amount tonight, just because they also don't have a ton of ball handling. They have George Hill, who's a vet. He should play that much. Frank Jackson can handle the ball a decent amount, and Maladon is one of the guys who's questionable. He will too, but how much is he going to play? I think he literally just was able to join training camp 2 days ago. So SGA is probably the best play on the slate. Ownership will reflect that. So we were a little higher on Leaf earlier, but with Roby in there too, now just one extra body brings it down a little bit. So SGA for sure. I like Frank Jackson. I just always he's really good when he plays with. If he's out there to be a complimentary player, he's not going to do much fantasy wise. He's not like your stand in the corner type of guy. We saw it in the bubble, actually. We saw it in the bubble this, a couple months ago, and it was one of my better nights in the bubble too. Is because they rolled a bunch of guys out. When he comes in and has to handle the ball, he's good. He's aggressive. He can score. Not a great outside shooter, but he's aggressive, and that's what you like for fantasy purposes. So he's one of my favorite cheap guys here. Leaf and Muscala. I'm sure I would almost guarantee at least one of these guys has a flame emoji next to his name by the end of the night, just for sole purposes of lack of bodies. And this Poku guy, man, rough. Poku is 7 foot 190.
What?
You're gonna watch if you watch the game. He looks like, he looks like he needs a cheeseburger. I had a cheeseburger last night. I had a cheeseburger for lunch too. I don't weigh 190.
You had a cheeseburger last night and for lunch?
It just happened to work out that way.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. That's excellent. Living your
best
life.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at with those guys. Yeah, look up your boy Poku. Right. And what a great nickname too, Poku.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm looking at for these guys. Spurs, I can go through really quick.
When I'm looking this guy up, do I just Google Poku? I'm sure I have to Google something.
If you Google Poku, it's like the third thing that auto populates.
All right, because you got to be careful Googling Poku. But okay, I got it.
All right. While you're looking up that and sending it in the chat so everybody can see, I'm going to hurry through the Spurs. The Spurs are probably one of my least favorite teams to target tonight. Pop always plays a ton of guys. Look, if I talked about in the article last preseason, I think no one played above 23 minutes in any game except for the last one, except maybe one person played 25 once. So he's going to spread these minutes out. You got to go, if you want to take people here, you go young. DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, Lyles, Trey Jones. Those are the guys. I just have a hard time imagining anyone here truly breaking the slate just because the minutes are going to be so spread out. Someone might, but I would predict a Clippers situation here more than I predict a slate breaking situation.
He looks like Durant, his body type. He's not freaky skinny, but it's a little bit, you should eat a cheeseburger for dinner and then again for lunch. Anything else here in this game, or should we get to the real good stuff?
No, we're nothing more in this game. We'll get to the real good stuff, which I think you mean is Luka versus Giannis.
Yeah.
And I will remind everyone who's just like hopping in on our core 4 that you can sign up for. You'll get this show and you'll get a different type of breakdown. I will literally go through and say, all right, point guard, this is what I'm looking at. I'll have core plays. Like we have Team RG core plays that we kind of, for the preseason, we're kind of collaborating on. And then we have Malachi Flynn there for everybody who wants to see, and 2 guys who are about to talk about. So I'll talk about, I'll do something like this where I'll lock this guy in. It's like, this is how I'm starting my cash game build. And then I'll say, all right, well, at small forward, this is the general range I'm looking at. These are the guys I'm looking at, power forward. So it'll be a much different build than a lot of the times in the big slates we'll have someone else like Cards or Tuttle who will be there and talk about how they're pivoting off the chop for tournaments, how you can take down big tournaments. So we get a good back and forth on optimal builds and tournament builds as we get to the regular season.
Yeah, I think it's a good little, I think it's a good balance. It's a good flow. I enjoy the way we do it. I thought you were going to say, by the way, for those who are new, Roth hates Giannis. I thought for sure that
would have been a good segue.
But,
we will not do that since we only have 19 minutes left and 4 more games. We won't get into that.
No, I like
he's a nice person, I'm sure.
He seems very kind, just not skilled. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to this Dallas-Milwaukee game.
All right, so as you can see on our projections overall, I'm just going to hit a refresh here too, by the way, just to make sure I have everything updated from what the guys are doing on the back end. So like we have these guys as the 2 highest projections on the slate in a landslide, and they're only at 20 and 23 minutes. Someone was joking in Discord, if you take Giannis down to 15 minutes, he's still like the best forward on the slate. So if you're worried about, second best forward now because we bumped Sabonis a little bit. So if you're worried about minutes, don't, just because he's so good per minute. And we did get confirmation that he's starting, which is good because the first game of the preseason last year got scratched. So that sucked a little bit because the Bucks said they're going Drew, DiVincenzo, Middleton, Giannis, and Brolo as their starters. And the T-Wolves are going with D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Okogie, Layman, and Cat as their starters. So I just wanted to throw that out there since I was looking at it. So yeah, don't be afraid about playing these 2 guys from this game. They're just so good per minute. I mean, even if they just play a half, like the chances of, like you think back to when we have normal projections on them in the regular season, a lot of the times you see 60 plus DK point projections. It's like the fact they could easily get 30 tonight in one half, and that's perfectly fine.
When you say these guys, you mean Giannis and Luka?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
like they're just so good per minute. Giannis is the best one. Luka's maybe 3rd behind Harden, and who knows what Harden's going to do this year if he's even wants to play. So
one of the themes of the regular season was Giannis doesn't need to play a lot of minutes because they were crushing everyone in the regular season, but per minute he was absurd, right? I mean,
yeah, we would have 31 minute projections on him and he would be projecting for 60 fantasy points. So
it's crazy.
It's pretty crazy. So the issue I have here is both of these coaches, I could easily see them not playing any of their main guys in the second half, though. So that's where I get worried about other guys, too, because these other guys aren't as good per minute as Giannis and Lucas. So we have Middleton, I think, as one of our top lineups, and I'm fine with that just because the position's bad and you kind of need points. And just kind of where you land, honestly. It's one of the last positions to fill out. So I don't really love anybody else in this game because Carlisle, like I've talked about in my article, Carlisle just played, 18 guys or something in the first game or 2 in the preseason. Bud doesn't even play his guys in the regular season, for God's sakes. Right. Like, we'll see what he does in the playoffs, actually. He doesn't like extending minutes in the playoffs. So that's also an issue. So that's about it. Like, someone's going to do fine here. I'm not going to try to go through all these guys in the 4Ks. Like, Bobby Portis is probably one of my favorites. Again, you want to target young guys. You want to target good per minute producers. Like, that's Bobby Portis. For the Mavs, like Jalen Brunson, Trey Burke, stuff like that. So I'm not going to go. We have Willie Cauley-Stein actually up here as the best per minute guy on the entire game. So throw his name into the hat too, because he's probably backing up Dwight Powell, who's coming off that Achilles. So not a lot to talk about here, short of Giannis and Luka.
Okay, great. Let's move on to Memphis, Minnesota.
Yeah. All right. So Actually, I remember how this was going in my article. Like the more I wrote, the more I was like, I don't like this game either. I don't like this game either. I don't like this game either. And I was getting like frustrated. And I think that's kind of the point where I'm getting to, because just looking. So go ahead.
Just looking ahead, is there any game looking ahead that you're like, oh, I do really like this team? Just so we don't have to get into it yet.
No, there's not.
Good. Okay.
And so I say that because
saying some of these fringe plays, people can start plugging them in right now.
Right. And I say that because think about it, the way the timing works. We heard from the Toronto coach, we heard from the Charlotte coach. A lot of these other earlier games had their coaches talk beforehand. So we know.
Yeah.
So like until we hear what these coaches say, we're just working on less information. So I'll try to like be retweeting stuff as I see it come across my timeline. So give me a follow on Twitter. Actually, I don't care. I really don't care about Twitter or followers. So we'll know more as this gets along, but right now we don't know a lot. We did get the starters in these 8:00 Eastern games, so that helps. But I don't know what Memphis is going to do. I don't know what Minnesota is going to do as far as how they want to play these guys. Saunders, the Minnesota coach last year, played a lot of guys in the first game or two. So as you can see, we have no one in the entire game projecting above 30 points. But this is the thing where you have to think how it's going to go for you to win a tournament. Like we have Cat projected for 20 minutes. Well, if Cat plays 25 minutes, you're talking about his projection going up close to 40. And if he is efficient above expectation, he's going to be like 45 or whatever, like Vooch was last night. So we're just trying to basically middle it here because we don't know. Again, I'll say the same thing I said about other teams. You want to, if you're like looking for the cheaper guys, go young, go good per minute guys. If I'm sorting by, even if I sort point per dollar, I don't love a lot of these guys. We need to, if anyone on the projection team is watching, we need to take McLaughlin out. McLaughlin is not with the team right now. He has not signed a new deal yet. So that does open up some more minutes to go around. But zero out McLaughlin. If anybody's watching, do not play him. He should not be in there. I don't like many people. I do like, they're not starting Wancho at the 4. I was hoping they'd start Wancho because I thought he could get a lot of open looks, but they're starting Lehman and Akoji at the 3 and the 4. So I'm not going to tell anybody to not play, the studs here, but just I like Sabonis better. I like Luka and Giannis better. So like if you put those 3 guys in, you don't have the money to play these guys. If you're playing on FanDuel, sure, look at them, but DK maybe not.
Okay. You want to jump in the NBA Crunch Time or something, or the NBA channel and tell people about, tell people about McLaughlin. Yeah. Well,
Hold on. I have a really loud keyboard. Hold on. I'm muting myself.
No. I want to hear it. No. Let's hear it.
No, the Devin's on it. I'm not. I need to get one of those sneaky ones. Oh, it's really bad. And my mic's right here.
All right, that's fine. Next up is going to be Denver at Golden State. And
okay, so this one's even worse, Roth. So
did you do it already?
No, did I type? Devin's doing it.
Oh, Devin's gonna. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. All right, I'm sorry.
So this one's even worse. Because Kerr, we'll talk Warriors first. Kerr straight up said, everybody on our team's going to play, and no one's playing over 20 minutes. That is an auto, like, no thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, put them toward the bottom. That is literally the worst possible thing for fantasy. So, Curry, we got him at 18. Even if you put him up to that 20 number, he's going to, like, approach 30. I'm sure he's going to be fine. Okay, I'm getting something. Yeah, so I'm getting word that the Caps coach is saying the vets won't play much tonight. So I talked about Drummond and Love a little bit. Love is the main one. Drummond's 27, but he's technically a vet, so I don't know if he falls under that umbrella. Love is for sure a vet.
Feels older. Drummond feels
older. We were talking about that in Discord today. The dude literally feels 34 years old. He's been in the league, I feel like, 12 years.
Yeah.
Love for sure is affected by that, and then Drummond and Nance maybe a little bit. But again, just another reason for me to like want to play Sabonis, who's kind of right in that range. So I'm glad I got that pointed out to me. All right, so let's see here. Oh yeah, okay. So Golden State. I'm not going to waste any more time on that, just because someone just lean on the. I guess we got free people watching, so you can't like entirely lean on the projections here. But Marcus Chris, Damian Lee. I'm not going to just spend a lot of time naming off random cheap players because it's basically everyone gets to play the same amount of minutes. It's like my third grade league when they said I couldn't shoot more than 3 times straight down the court. Like,
oh, because you were dominant in third grade?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right. So let's go to Denver. I don't know what to expect here. And Malone is one of those guys who seems like kind of the similar. As you can see, that's kind of what we're expecting. We have no one above 21 minutes. A lot of people playing. So if I'm playing anyone from this game, it will be Porter, because he's kind of in that middle ground of we still need you to get better. We still need you to play a lot and improve, but you're also really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like if I'm playing anyone from that team, it's going to be Porter. Jokic and Murray, they have played so many minutes in the bubble that they're the guys who you would think would be monitored the most. But Murray is 5'6", and I actually landed on a couple lineups where I was right there. So if you land on those lineups, I play Murray. Hopefully we get some more news out of them, kind of in this buffer between the 7 and 8 o'clock games tonight. Cheap guys, Bol, Dozier. They've talked up some RJ Hampton in camp. Those would be guys I'm looking at. But until we hear otherwise of what they're going to do with minutes, I'm not thrilled about anybody here. And I think, one more game.
Yeah, we got Suns Jazz. Bol was interesting. I mean, that's a guy, he's raw. He needs development. Can't they just throw him out for 30 minutes and be like, figure it out, Bol? Seriously,
he's like Michael Porter light. Like he's really good, but he needs a lot of, he's way rougher around the edges and way more raw. So, but if he plays 20 minutes in the second half, like because they just sit everybody, then yeah, he could do fine. So it's just, you just don't know if that's going to happen. Phoenix, Utah. Phoenix. So we have this guy, Jalen Smith, popping. He's 4K. They drafted him, I think, 10th. He's kind of a backup center, which makes no sense because they have Ayton. But in like looking at their evaluation of him, they apparently think he can play the 4 some. So that's why he's popping, because the coach said he doesn't want his main guys to play more than 15 to 18 minutes. And that's good. We got that information. That's good.
Yeah.
So that means we know these reserves minutes should be like this. And they're without Saric. They're without CP3 tonight. I think they're without Jay Crowder tonight. So that's why you see some of their cheaper guys pop a little bit, because you got to give those minutes to somebody. If they're going to play their main guys 15 to 18 minutes, somebody's got to play. So, and they're thin in the front court. That's why this Jalen Smith guy, like they have Jones at center. They have Motley at center. This is a guy they have to see what they have in him. They invested a lot of draft equity in this guy. So that's why he's popping. Utah, no clue what they're going to do. Snyder makes it sound like he had this quote about with no summer league basically in such a condensed preseason and off season, the rookies are just, they have to be thrown to the fire. It kind of makes me think he wants to spread things out a little more. And another thing I talk about, like teams that are bad and teams that haven't played in a while. Another on the opposite end of that spectrum is teams with a lot of continuity. They don't need to use preseason to see what they have. The Jazz, all their main guys are back, and Favors is their main addition in the offseason. He played there a bunch, several years ago. So that's another thing I look at. If the Mavs, their whole roster is borderline the same.
That's what I was
thinking. Continuity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just you don't have to use the preseason as much to see what your main guys have. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Jazz. I also am just guessing. One of our Discord users pointed out their main guys played a bunch in the preseason. If you just look at their averages, if you look at the first 1 or 2 games, they only play 20 minutes. So as we get further along here, they're going to see their minutes ramp up. But right now, I'm just not feeling it. So, but I could be wrong. I just really have no idea.
Okay. The show is not over. We're going to open it up. We're going to take some questions. Before we do that, take a nice swig of that beer. Do you have a favorite play? I don't want to put you on a favorite play. It's kind of
I'm fine with that. I don't care.
It's just like for preseason, hope the guy gets the minutes. But do you have a guy who, he's locked into all your lineups? You're like, I feel pretty good about him.
Yeah, I can cop out and just take the obvious one, SGA.
Way to be helpful.
They have no one who's good on their team. That helped. Check. He's young. Check. They have 12 bodies available. Check. I'll just play him. And remember last night how I said Killian Hayes probably a good tournament fade, which it was because he turned the ball over so much. Mm-hmm. Don't necessarily feel that way about SGA tonight. I kind of would go over the crowd instead of under the crowd.
No, I think that really is useful because a lot of people in preseason have no idea. Like there are people in chat right now that are saying, I threw in some lineups. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I think even
hey guys,
obvious
a lot of this situation, I don't either. Like I'm just guessing. I mean, I'm using things to like shape my guesses, but this is a lot of guessing in preseason.
Yeah, but they are educated guesses, which is why you're here. By the way, so. if anyone watching here that is watching on YouTube enjoys this content, thinks that after watching that, you're like, that Meansy guy is pretty damn sharp. I don't know about that Roth character, but that Meansy guy, he seems to know what's up. Then you should sign up for the Core 4. We love what we do here with our NBA package. We get preseason stuff included with NFL. There's a lot of reasons why, and our projections are the best in the biz.
And then you keep the Core 4 projection or the subscription through basketball and then right into baseball when Roth just like the intelligence factor shoots up with all the weather.
Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that weatherman is useful. I get it. All right, let's get into some of these questions here. We've got 3-4 minutes left.
Yeah.
Lowry says, this Leaf guy a good play tonight?
He's good per minute. He was like 0.9 DK points per minute and above the past 2 seasons with the Pacers. He produces, and it's more just about their roster. They're somewhat thin, so I know he's popping in our projections, and I'm fine with it. Like I said, the salary does matter a little more tonight than it did last night because we have like Luka and Giannis on the slate. And as far as cheap plays, I'm fine with him. He's going to play and he should produce, so I'm fine with him.
Okay. Maryi Don Yeezy in the YouTube chat says, what up, Devo, Means, and Roth? What up? Welcome. Cleveland God says, JJ Barea tonight. We've kept the streak up of bringing his name up in every single show for the last 3 years. Yes, lock him in, even though he's never going to play again.
Is he in the player pool? Let's look.
I don't think so.
And you can take another question.
He's not on the team. Is Middleton?
Yes.
He is. You can actually play him. I'm doing it.
Someone will play him tonight.
Yeah. Zach says, let's see, is Middleton and Giannis a bad idea? Lineup HQ was putting them together in some lineups.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about this in Discord. I don't hate playing them together like in tournaments because normally you think differently in correlation thought in like regular season because if Giannis has a great game, well, maybe Middleton doesn't. But here I'm just caring about minutes. Like,
right.
Like maybe they play through the third quarter, then that means Middleton plays through the third quarter, and that's way different than other teams. So like, right. I have them both in my lineup now. I don't feel great about it because it's Bud. I have no idea what Bud's going to do. These guys could only play. I'm way more worried about Middleton for obvious reasons. These guys could easily just play the first half. I retweeted an article that someone, one of the beat writers said about what Bud said about the minutes. And the headline makes it look like Bud's just being Bud, like, yeah, we're going to play guys. They're going to play some minutes and just being like standoffish about it. If you read the actual article, it made it sound like, yeah, these guys are going to play some minutes tonight. Yeah, they're going to get out there and play. So like, I feel all right about it.
Okay. All right. Rocky Raccoon in chat says, any interest in Graham in a GPP? He's a young guy, a new cast, and they might want to get him some time after an injury last season.
I'm okay with it. I want to see what his price is real quick. Not that it matters too much, but he's one of the guys we know for sure. Oh, what in the world? That's Fanduel. I was about to say, good Lord, he's 3K. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Hold on. Graham's 6'4". I don't love it just because we know he's going to not play more than 20 minutes, allegedly. So he's got to be really efficient to like pay off that. I would steer clear, honestly.
All right. B in the YouTube chat says, any Boban interest? This is a dude who doesn't need the minutes to crush.
I'm never going to tell someone not to play Boban on a preseason slate. Like if he just gets 12 minutes, he could score 28 DK points.
Yeah. Speaking of guys coming back from injury, was my pick last night was John Wall.
Dude, I wanted to call you out or give you props for that. John Wall, man, that was a hell of a call.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
He looked good too.
Yeah, he did. Like Houston might have something there. He really he looked good. Chad says, is Bogdanovich playing? Is there multiple Bogdanoviches?
Yeah, for Utah. Yeah, he's playing. Yep.
Okay, he is indeed playing.
At least as far as I know, I haven't seen otherwise. When I did my research before the show, yes, he was playing.
Right. Okay, that's just about lock means. Let's do something here. We're gonna take some more questions. We can talk some general basketball for another 5-10. But I want to do something that ever since I saw the shot that we have, I've been trying to do. You ready? High five, bud.
Oh, what do I have to do? This one?
High five. Nope.
Wrong one.
Nope. Hey, there we go. Nailed it.
I won't get made fun of for that.
No, yeah. That would never happen. All right, let's see. We still have some questions coming in. Liam, which is Liam Portis, which is a fantastic name, by the way, Liam. He says, do you prefer Sabonis or Drummond? You like Sabonis.
Yeah, I like Sabonis, especially with that cryptic comment from the coach about Betts maybe not playing as much. So, yeah, I like Sabonis a little better. And another thing, Roth, you should point out is like we do this every night on the show in the season too. We still take questions after lock, late swap questions. Some nights there's like one game that starts at 7 Eastern and then a bunch start later, so we can really dive into some strategy. If like some people didn't get their questions in during the main part of the show, we can still take more questions. So we don't shut down right when the slate locks.
Yeah, I'd say the whole format is a little different and a little better, honestly, during the regular season. Also, sometimes during the regular season, if it's a Friday, we just get tanked.
Well, apparently the past two nights too.
Yeah.
What I will say, oh wait, never mind. We're not, as of right now, we might not be having this show. I was going to say it would make sense as this actually is a good point to point out for everybody though. So I don't think we will have this show next week. Mm-hmm. As these teams get in these middle games of the preseason, like some have 4, some have 3, as you get into games 2 and 3 for these teams, that's when they're going to like treat it as like dress rehearsals for sure. That's when you're going to see minutes go up. They just kind of treat it as a runway. So we'll have a little bit better of an idea, and I'll try to point that out in my article about who we really can trust minutes wise. But teams will use this as a runway to ramp minutes up as these games get a little further deep in the preseason.
Okay. Is there that few preseason games? Only like 3 and 4 games?
For each team. Yeah.
Right. I didn't even.
Because the last preseason slate is a week from today. So, and then the regular season starts on the 22nd. We're 10 days away from opening night, man.
I'm just so pumped. I just miss the sport. I just miss watching basketball. That's what I do. I watch basketball at night, and now it's back. And
you got freaking Luka Doncic on your team. Like, how can you not feel good?
It's just such a joy, man, watching that kid play.
He's so fun to watch.
Because it's all skill. It's not like raw athleticism. He's just so skilled and so smart.
You're subtly saying it. Why don't you just go outright and say what you want to say, Roth?
What, that he's the greatest player in the NBA? That he's the MVP?
It's all skill. It has nothing to do with athleticism. Oh, God.
It was not a knock on Giannis. Maybe.
But you're right, though. Because, like, you watch him, and you're like, if I really tried and really put myself through it, I feel like I could maybe be as good as him.
I could do that.
He's not, like, blowing. Yeah, like, he's not blowing by people. He's just shooting step-back threes and, like, I mean.
But it's just his command of the game, his understanding of spacing in the game and keeping his dribble alive and using his body, his vision, just everything technically about him is perfect as a basketball player. It's just
no complaints here, man. He is one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah, he's a blast. He makes passes sometimes where he's like driving and jumps, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then he cannons it because he's like 6'8" over 3 guys to a dude wide open in the corner that I didn't even see. I didn't even know where this guy came from, and he's wide open there.
That's a few different things. One, it's knowing like where your guy's going to be, like knowing your system, knowing the player, whatever. 2, it's also like manipulating what you think the defense is going to do. So you look a guy and you kind of just know like, all right, their scheme is going to be, he's going to try to take this away from me. So I'm going to be one step ahead of you, and I'm going to throw it to that spot. Like when you start, that's like LeBron level stuff.
Yes,
when you're doing stuff like that.
Yeah. He's a step ahead of the defense. He's dribbling into the help intentionally, kicking to where the other helps come. It's phenomenal. I don't want to.
Okay, I got some info here.
Come with it.
For Denver. So we actually got some concrete stuff. Malone says starting group will play around 24 minutes. That's good. Like that's 24 minutes. That is meaningful. So
with good players, good starters.
Yeah. So like Murray at that price, I really like Murray at that price on DK. Jokic, since I have this up right now, let's just this is stuff we will normally be doing. So let's just take their main guys, and just for the sake of discussion and example, let's put them up to 24. We'll put Porter up to 24, just their main 3 guys. I mean, I'm sure Millsap he's included in that, but we'll see and like Harris, but not as concerned about them because they're not as good per minute. So let's then go over here and look at how this looks as a whole. And now we have Jokic as the 3rd highest projected player at 24 minutes. Murray is going to be right there behind SGA at 5,600. So I think Murray specifically, I think, is a much better play than when we started this show.
Okay, great. We got another question coming in from Rel Giddem. I may have pronounced that wrong. On DK util spot, Boban, Jalen Smith, or Bobby Portis?
If you're playing like an optimal type of build, a cash game type of build, I would probably go Smith just because I feel better about his minutes. It's tough for me to answer otherwise because I have no idea what projected ownership would look like on preseason stuff like this. So, I mean, Boban. Just how do I not say Boban? You know?
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
you could also play like 6 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Means I think we've done the thing that we're supposed to do here.
Yeah.
Sign up for Core 4.
Oh, I was going to say, I can't believe the preseason's over with. You're off. We're done.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, that is a little weird. I'm super pumped for regular season. I love doing the show with you, and I can't wait for it to get going. Guys, if you're not a part of our community, join Core 4. You get in the Discord. Literally, there are people there all day just talking about plays. There's experts jumping in, Meansy's jumping in. Like, our guys are going back and forth. It's fun. And that's the point of this whole thing, right? Is it's supposed to be fun. It's fun and it's profitable. So I highly recommend you sign up. That's it. That's my pitch.
I agree with you. Yeah, I was was in there all day yesterday and a decent amount today as well.
And you're putting in work. It's like you missed work. You've gone into overdrive the last couple of days.
Today was 7 games, man. That was not fun. So that was not fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think on that, we'll get out of here. Means, why don't you say goodbye to the people?
Yeah. Appreciate everybody who joined us these last 2 nights. Hope you guys join us for the regular season too. It's a lot of fun and we got some good tools, man. Even if you hate me, we have really good tools. We have good projections. We have Court IQ. We have a bunch of other guys. So even if you hate me, join the party, man.
No one dislikes you. You're way too likable. I missed a question from Jay Steele, and I feel like a jerk.
I like Jay Steele. He's an active Discord user. Let's hear what he's got to say.
And I just saw that he had a question. He might be gone now, but I just saw his question. In lineup HQ for small field single entry, what outcome percentage per position do you use? That was an elaborate question.
That is a question you should just like tweet at Blender, because I'm not a huge lineup HQ settings guy, just because I usually play one lineup and
you don't do
way less concerned about game theory stuff. Yeah. So I know it's a single entry question. I would Blender always gets back to people in Discord. So I would just ask him.
Okay. There you go. That's a good way to end it. Guys, we're going to get out of here. So for Meansy, working hard all day. For Devin, always working hard behind the scenes, even on a Saturday night. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you at the start of NBA season. You have been crunched.